Another Sunday night, and that means another sports overtime. I'm Lane Fobbs. Top 10 plays, Ole Miss versus Texas A&M, and a very different game for an offensive lineman. That's all ahead. But first, here was week 7 of high school football in the Delta. We're going to start with our game of the week. Yazoo City, the Indians are at home taking on the Bulldogs of Greenwood. We're going to start in the first quarter. You know what? Yazoo has a pretty good defense, led by Timothy Washington. There he is, sacking Quadre Briggs on the play. Puts the Indians in great field position, so it's going to set up this touchdown from Darius Wright to Alexander Hollins. This is a top 10 play nominee. Yazoo City is up 6-0 early on in the game, but here come the Greenwood Bulldogs. Quadre Briggs is going to go back to throw. Find my favorite name in the Delta, Booker T. Jones. He's going to take it across the middle before being brought down, but that sets up a really good stuff for Greenwood. Here's Griggs. Sammy Epps with the catch and the run. This is my story. I scored a touchdown, baby. He reaches out for the end zone, ties the game at 6. Greenwood goes on to win this game 34-6. Let's head up to Rosedale now, up to Highway 1 North a little bit. They're at home taking on South Delta, taking on the Bulldogs. Eagles want to make a statement in this game. They're a young team, first-year coach Jock Williams, all those guys there. The Bulldogs are with the ball first, though, and they strike first. Here's number 3, Hakeem Johnson, getting to the edge and able to run, spin off a man for a very nice gain. And later on, it's a big play for the Eagle defense now. They're kind of growing up right before our eyes. Check it out. 4th and short, and the quarterback is stopped for no gain. Turnover on downs puts the Eagles in business. But, you know, this was kind of a defensive struggle. Later on, it's 4th down for Rosedale inside the 10, and they're going to get stopped. So both defenses are out there kind of trading punches, you know, pound for pound, kind of a heavyweight Mike Tyson back in the day type battle until the Eagles' next possession and finally put a stop to that. Here's number 7, Tyshawn Conway, hitting his man, number 5, DeGuadrick Rice. Rice is in there for the first down, and on the very next play, here's Tyshawn Conway. He's number 7, doing his best Michael Vick impersonation with the quarterback keeper. Gets in there for the score. The extra point was good, and Rosedale goes on to win this game 19-12. LaFleur County Tigers now, they are at home taking on the Eastside Trojans. Great low angle shot, great opening cutaway from our sports director there, Mike Sands. That was pretty cool. All right, here are the Trojans on their own 3. Here's Tequil Eatman with the run, but check out the hit after Eatman's like, man, I got it. No, he doesn't. He's brought down by the LaFleur County Tiger. The very nice play on both ends. Here is Jonathan Caldwell, though, for LaFleur, getting the ball down right there. But here comes the Eastside defense. That's an interception. It goes to Padarius Bronner. And believe it or not, this was a very high-scoring game. Eastside goes on to win this one 58-40. Let's head out to Indianola now. The Colonels, it was homecoming. And when there's homecoming, nothing says it like fireworks, right? Here is Ashton Knight creating some fireworks on the field for Indianola Academy. That's a big run down into Lee Academy territory. And why not toss it on to Wheeler Timms for the touchdown run, gets it in there on the sweep. And why not hand it to Timms one more time, lather, rinse, repeat. He's in there for the 2-point conversion, and Indianola Academy goes on to win this game 35-7. They are now 7-0 on the year. Let's stay in Indianola, actually. Here are the Gentry Rams. They're at home. There's Ladarius Galloway for them. They need a win over the Cleveland High Wildcats. Cleveland strikes first. Here's Ernest Butler with a big run down to the 10-yard line. And later on, it would set up the easy score for Mr. Butler. So he's in there. But you know what? The Rams of Gentry, they're not going to go down without a fight. Here is Armand Weems, another top 10 play nominee. He's going to look back, find his man Kendall Wright in the back of the end zone. Not the Titans wide receiver Kendall Wright, but the Gentry Rams wide receiver Kendall Wright. Cleveland does go on to win this one, though, 34-6. All right, Simmons, it was their homecoming on the next game. Feel like we should be playing that Stevie Wonder song, Isn't She Lovely? Oh, look at all the good-looking young kids out there. They're at home taking on the Riverside Bulldogs. Here's Tokir Winters with a 36-yard run. It looks like he gets into the end zone, but he's actually called out of bounds. But you know what? Simmons is like, it's all good. We got this. Here is Roy Halem with the touchdown run. Very easy right there. And Simmons goes on to win this game 56-6. And finally, here is Ray Brooks. The Tigers, they're taking on the Shaw Hawks. Shaw needs a win. They want to kind of make a statement this year. So here is Shaw with a very dominating lead already, and they're driving. Number 23, Xavier Loggins, he is able to get in there for the first down, and that sets up this number 10 Jamarius Stimmich touchdown run. Keeps it himself, got it going on in there. The extra point is good, and it's 39-8 Shaw at this point. But meanwhile, Ray Brooks is trying to get something started. Here's number 1, Broderick Moore. He takes the swing pass down there for a nice gain. But in the end, the Hawk defense is just too much. Here's number 9, Sinderick Maton. You're going to see him right here. He's going to be back to throw. And he is sacked, brought down by Ladarius Buchanan. Shaw wins this game 48-6. We're going to be right back with more, but first here are some more high school scores for you. This is overtime. And Hotty Toddy is hovering around the panic button as Ole Miss had a surprising loss Saturday to Auburn. After starting the season at 3-0, the Rebels have now lost 2 straight, and it doesn't get any easier with Texas A&M coming into Oxford this Saturday. And oh yeah, the Aggies also had a bye week to get healthy. For more on the game, let's head to College Station, where earlier I sat down with KAGS Sports Director Luke Simons, who covers Texas A&M. Talking Texas A&M versus Ole Miss with KAGS Sports Director Luke Simons. And of course, Luke, you think Texas A&M, you think Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. How is he this year compared to 2012?
Well, I think what Coach Sumlin and even Johnny would tell you is that he's a lot more comfortable in the pocket, and he's worked a lot on becoming more of a passer than, when you see a freshman, they typically like to tuck the ball pretty quick and run. He hasn't done it as much. Now, that doesn't mean he can't do it. He'll do it when he has to. He can definitely still run the way he has. But I think what people will be surprised at is how well he can actually distribute that ball. He's not afraid to stand up in the pocket. He's got a veteran offensive line in front of him, and he's not afraid to stand in, take a hit from time to time, and throw the ball where he needs to. And I think that's what he's really become very good at, especially in that spread offense where getting the ball out quick, understanding what the defense is going to give you. That's kind of what they've talked about. And, he's taken what they've given him, and he distributes the ball very well. But I'd say he's definitely a better pocket passer than he was even last year.
And, Luke, a lot of Rebel fans point to the A&M defense as a big sign of weakness for A&M. They feel like they can exploit that and maybe pull out a big win in Oxford. How do you see it? How does the Aggie D look?
Kind of funny, when I look at this matchup, like when Nick Saban was getting ready to play Ole Miss, one of the things Saban said is it's hard to practice against an offense like this. Well, I think both defenses, they play that offense. So I don't think either defense is really going to be surprised with how this game's going to be played. It's going to be up-tempo. They're going to spread it out. I don't think A&M's going to be surprised by anything that Ole Miss does. I don't think Ole Miss is going to be surprised at anything that the A&M offense does. It's going to just be a give and take. And, I could see this game being one of those shootouts where whoever scores last is, and that's the way it ended last year. That might be what happens in this game this week.
Now, Luke, last year, A&M, they had a tough game in Oxford against Ole Miss. 6 turnovers, and they won that game by the skin of their teeth. How do you see this game playing out this year?
You talk to the guys over at Texas A&M during the bye week, and, they're starting to prepare for their Ole Miss. They were already getting ready for this game, and one of the things they said was, it was that close. They were able to pull out the win, and they did it with those 6 turnovers. I think A&M's going to go into this game knowing they can't do that again, and I wouldn't expect it. But you know what? They respect what Ole Miss does. I know Kevin Sumlin knows Hugh Freeze. Those two guys know each other pretty well. They came into the league as the new guys in the SEC, and both really surprised a lot of people. So I think it's a game that really can be a shootout, and I think Ole Miss can come out, and it's going to be interesting to see how Ole Miss starts. One stat I'll throw out there, Kevin Sumlin has led the Texas A&M football team in 18 of the games. 15 they've scored on their very first drive. So A&M's very good at getting out ahead, and then they like to hold on to that lead and do whatever they need. So one thing Ole Miss definitely needs to do in this one is start out fast. That's something a lot of teams have not been able to do against Texas A&M.
And Luke, what's kind of the conference-wide perception of Ole Miss this year?
Well, I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people understand that Ole Miss is a very good team, and they've proven that. You know, hearing from Coach Hugh Freeze, he said, you know, everybody got so excited with what they were able to do last year, but also be careful in year number 2. It doesn't necessarily mean that's not necessarily what's going to happen in year 2. But I'll tell you what, this Ole Miss team is dangerous, and I don't think they're up in that upper echelon. And, you know, even A&M, I think A&M's being talked with Alabama and LSU in that top 3 in the West. And I think Ole Miss is really, really close to jumping into that. And I definitely think they're one of the teams you have to be careful with, especially like Texas A&M, the way the schedule is built. A&M has 8 home games. The schedule's built great for them. But one of those toughest matchups is going to be hitting the road, going there to Ole Miss, and trying to pull out another win. So I definitely think a lot of people are you know, they want to be careful with this matchup against Ole Miss. Do they think A&M should win? Yes, probably, but it's also one of those games you can't get too excited about just yet. You got to wait until that final whistle blows, and for, you know, the Aggies' sake, they're hoping that they can finish out on top.
AGS Sports Director again, Ole Miss versus Texas A&M this coming Saturday. Meanwhile, here's a look at the latest college football top 25. We just finished talking about Texas A&M. They're the Aggies at number 9. No more Ole Miss in the rankings after a loss to Auburn Saturday, so no Mississippi schools are in the poll. You take out Ole Miss, though, and you replace them with another SEC school. There's Missouri at number 25. Well, after the break, hear from an offensive lineman who once played a very different game than football and who made the top 10 plays of the week. Come back to find out. This is Overtime. Well, here's some good news if you're an Amanda Elsie supporter. A judge blocked the takeover of the LaFleur County schools this week, meaning for now, things run as normal for the prep sports. And Elsie point guard Maurice Dunlap is going to stay at the school. Now, some thought that he would transfer, but Panthers head coach Gerald Glass told us earlier this week Dunlap will stay at Elsie no matter what decision comes down about the LaFleur County School District. The reason? Well, Dunlap already has a scholarship with Mississippi State. And check out Bayou Academy softball earlier this week. The Lady Colts became AA state champions, beating Leak in the finals. This is their 7th straight title. There we go for Bayou in the last 8 years. And speaking of private schools, they get to stay in the Mississippi High School Athletics Association because a motion to vote them out never made it to the floor. Some feel the private schools have an unfair advantage because, well, they can recruit. All right, when it comes to football, everyone has to know where they need to be on the field. Here's a Delta State player who has a championship in a completely different game, and it helps him in the game he plays today. Take a look.
They say football can be a chess match, and no one knows that more than Delta State offensive lineman Michael Gibbs. You see, the big man was a chess master in high school.
My mom is a teacher back at home, and she teaches the gifted program, and one of her criteria is to hold a chess tournament for her class, and she just got me into it, and I ended up being actually pretty good at it, and always won the school tournaments and went on to district tournaments and won those too.
And the players on the team still can't believe Mike's past life as a brainiac. One of his teammates even told the rest of the statesmen.
And he announced it to our team, and when he was asked about my life, and that's what he told them about my chess, and everybody started laughing and didn't believe it, but it's real life. There's something that I had brain smarts in, and I could use that, and I was actually good at that, and people looked at me differently because I could use something like an academic.
Mike says he could have been a chess master today, but football became his priority.
I never made it to the state tournament because it always had conflicting tournaments with either a baseball or soccer tournament.
All right, it's been a while since Mike's played chess, so I wonder, is this my chance to kind of sneak in and beat him in the game?
Checkmate.
Guess he still got it. So he may not play chess anymore, but the skills he mastered in the thinking man's game help him think on his feet in Delta State's high-powered offense.
With all the plays we run, it can get a little confusing. But chess, I would say, it did help because you always got to be thinking ahead. And I think that applies to my life in sports as well.
In Cleveland, Lane Fobbs, ABC 6 Sports.
All right, from a game of chess to the games on the field, here are the top 10 plays of the week. We're going to start with number 10. It takes us out to Yazoo City. They're taking on Greenwood. Check it out. Timothy Washington with the sack of Quadre Griggs. Big time play by the Indians right there. We will have much more from Yazoo City, but right now we have to go to our number 9 play. Mississippi State taking on LSU. Here's Tyler Russell. He's going to go back, rip it out, and find Duranye Wilson. And he snatches it from a would-be LSU defender right there to take it all the way to the house. LSU does win that game 59-26. Number 8, Rosedale at home taking on South Delta. Here's Tyshawn Conway with the quarterback keeper and run all the way. Takes it to the house. Be fresh to death with the refs watching. Rosedale wins a big game at home 19-12. Number 7 play now is going to be the Bears and the Saints. Here it comes right here. Check it out. Pierre Thomas with the touchdown run on the screen. Just all types of daylight. You make it that easy for him. He's going to get in. And the Saints go on to win this one 26-18. Number 6 now, it's Shaw taking on Ray Brooks. Here is the quarterback mitten. He's going to get sacked by Ladarius Buchanan. Big time play. The Shaw Hawk defense stepped up big. They win the game over Ray Brooks 46-8. Number 5 play now. Here's Auburn at home. Ole Miss on the road, taking on the Tigers. Bo Wallace this was probably his best highlight of the game. He's back to throw, and he finds Dante Moncrief, who kind of bobbles the ball before getting into the end zone there. Auburn does win the game, though, 30-22. Number 4 on our top 10 playlist now, Gentry at home taking on Cleveland. Here's Armand Weems back to pass. He's going to find Kendall Wright. Very nice touch on this ball in the back of the end zone right there. Cleveland does win the game, though, 34-6. Number 3 play now, Yazoo City again, Greenwood, Yazoo City. Here is Quadre Griggs back to throw, finds Sammy Epps. Epps takes it all the way in. He's going to stretch out, dive out for the touchdown, and he makes it happen. And we're going to go to our number 2 play, LaFleur County taking on Eastside. This could really be 2 top 10 plays, and you're going to see why. Here's Taquil Eatman with the run for the Trojans. Got the highlight stick working overtime. He's getting down there, making things happen. But here comes Darius Coleman in out of nowhere. I mean, you didn't even see it on the screen, right? Eastside wins the game 58-40. And number 1, Yazoo City. Here's Darius Wright, the quarterback for the Indians, with the pass to Alexander Hollins. Check it out one more time. Great balance to kind of twist his body around there to get it. And Greenwood wins the game 34-6. All right, that's going to do it for overtime. But before we go, remember, experience tells you what to do, and confidence that allows you to do it. We'll see you next week.